Welcome to the first day of fall. We have a lot to do this season and we still need copper bars. I've got to tell you, this challenge is a lot harder than I thought it would be. I guess that's why it's called a challenge. The apple tree that I planted all the way back in spring has finally grown its first apple. I'm not sure if I'm proud or disgusted. I remember that at the end of summer we asked Robin to build us a barn, and today it's finally built. After saying hi to all of the coop creatures, I pick up a duck feather and some eggs. I headed south to buy a cow from Marnie, but clearly she had other plans. Thanks, Marnie. I did, however, pick up a common mushroom. As it was a new season, that meant that there were more crops to buy from Pierre's. I headed back to the farm and planted the seeds that I had bought from Pierre. I found a hazelnut at the bus stop and decided to take it with me for one of the bundles. Speaking of bundles, I went to the community centre and completed the full foraging bundle, which brought us one step closer to getting that bridge repaired. I also handed in the duck feather to the dye bundle. After that was all sorted, I headed to town to do some fishing in the river. I managed to catch a tiger trout, as well as some junk. I went to the beach and did some late night fishing. I perfectly caught an albacore, which I was very proud of. Remembering that time is a thing, I throw some things into the shipping bin before heading home. On day 58, I do the usual morning ritual of harvesting an apple and watering all of my crops. The observant ones watching will notice that an extra 9 pumpkins have been planted. I need 5 gold quality pumpkins as part of a bundle, so I'm giving myself the best chance that I have. I checked out the fruit cave and saw that a peach was waiting for me, which I could use in a bundle. Much like yesterday, I went to Marnie's to buy a cow, but I think she was busy doing something unproductive, which I can 100% relate to. I headed into town and saw Lewis and Robin were building the special orders board. This means that I can complete a special order and get a bonus reward from the NPCs. Instead, I decided to go fishing. I didn't get too lucky, but I did catch a salmon. After that, I went to the community centre to tidy up some bundles. I still needed to kill 500 dust sprites for the burglar's ring, and apparently floors 51 to 59 is really good for dust sprites. I guess we'll find out. I had a quick look at the monster eradication goals, and I seem to be doing pretty good. After sorting out my inventory and spending far too long in the mines, I decided to finally head to bed, where I dreamed of level 7 farming. Day 59 started with harvesting corn and watering my crops. I got a letter from Marnie asking for a bunch of amaranth. I'm sure I'll remember that. We got our first dinosaur egg today, which I will donate to Gunther at some point. Next up was the community centre to hand in 3 apples for a friendship bundle. After that, I went to Clint and asked him to break some geodes. I got a hematite which will be donated to Gunther. Speaking of Gunther, I went to the museum and handed some things in. I wasn't sure of how many dust sprites I still needed to kill, but I went to the mines to work on the goal. I eventually emerged from the mines and I saw that I was very close to my goal. I headed back into the mines and wondered if there was a speed run to complete a monster eradication goal and which enemy would be the quickest. I figured it would be the Duggies, as they have a low number required to kill and they can be found on the earlier floors. I left the mines quite late and sprinted back to the farm. I managed to get to my bed and dreamed of level 8 combat. Gunther was standing on my doorstep in the pouring rain on day 60. He came all this way just to give me a key. Thanks, Gunther. Once Gunther was gone, I went to the town to do a bit of fishing. After a little bit of a fight, I managed to catch a catfish, a fish that I'd somehow missed in spring. I spent the whole day fishing, but I can't actually remember what I was trying to fish for, so let's just say I was fishing for a purpose. Oh, wait, never mind. I was fishing for a walleye. I felt like I was close to completing the monster slaying goal, so I went and succeeded. I went to see Gil and collected the ring that I had been waiting for. I swung by the community centre and handed in the walleye, as well as the catfish, and completed 2 more bundles. I also handed in a large egg. I sold all of the fish that I had caught that day and went to bed just before midnight. It was a sunny day on day 61, so I watered my crops before heading south. I said hello to the travelling merchant before buying nothing. I remembered that Gunther had given me a rusty key, so I used it on the sewer. I met Krobus and I bought an iridium sprinkler from him. I headed to the beach to do some more fishing. I got quite lucky, as the second fish I caught was the one I was looking for, the sea cucumber. I went back to the farm and placed down the iridium sprinkler. I went into the coop and incubated a void egg that I had bought from Krobus earlier. I paid Clint to open up a geode and he gave me a blue thing that had way too many vowels. I gave the blue thing to the museum. I then went into the mines to try out my shiny new ring. A slime gave me a diamond. I'm not too good at fighting void spirits, but this one gave me an iron bar. After a bit of late night fishing, I sorted out my inventory and went to bed. On day 62, I had eggplants waiting for me. I needed one for the community centre and the rest of my crops needed watering. There was another large egg in the coop that I also needed for the community centre. Speaking of, I went there and handed in the eggplant, completely forgetting about the egg. Instead, I went to the mines and got another copper bar and a ladder down. I got another copper bar from this void spirit. What most players do with their first 5 copper bars is to buy a tool upgrade, but I made the choice to go to Robin's and buy a silo so that I can use a scythe on grass and get hay for the winter. After spending some time in the spa, I went to the beach to try and catch a super sea cucumber. It can be annoyingly difficult to catch, so I was prepared to spend a while there, but it didn't matter because I caught it. I suddenly remembered the egg and handed it into the community centre. I killed a few more void spirits before doing a bit of fishing and caught the midnight carp. After doing some inventory cleaning, I headed to bed. It's a Sunday, and Robin is working hard on the silo and I'm busy watering the crops and harvesting corn. I was heading south when I noticed a mushroom tree on my farm. I got very excited because in all of my files I've never had a mushroom tree spawn. I finally went to the travelling cart and saw a scorpion carp. Did I buy it? What do you think? Absolutely not. I also remembered that I needed to buy a cow at some point, so I went to Marnie's and to my surprise she was there. I randomised some names and finally settled on Bobo. After that I headed to the mines and got an iron bar from a void spirit, as well as another copper bar. This one was super kind to me and gave me a gold bar and an iridium bar. I felt like it would be pushing my luck if I stayed too long, so I went to the community centre and handed in a purple mushroom. I said goodnight to Hugo and made a beeline for bed. We have officially completed a week of this season and it feels like I've been super productive. I do a bit of farm tidying and realise that Robin has finished a silo. Linus sends me a letter asking me to find his blackberry basket. And I was heading to Demetrius to give him a melon, but I saw the basket on the way and I got that instead. I find Linus and I give him his basket, and then I visit Demetrius and give him the melon that he asked for last season. After doing a few things, I go into the mines to get a copper bar from a void spirit. Nothing else too interesting happened in the mines, so I went back to the farm and did some much needed tidying. Eventually, I went to bed and dreamed of level 7 mining. Day 65 starts with normal farm tours of watering all my crops. Lewis sent me a letter about the Stardew Valley fair, so I need to start preparing for it. I wasn't too sure as to what to do today, so I started by cleaning more of the farm. I went to the community centre and bought the 10k bundle, although I'm pretty sure I needed the money for something else. After that, I spent the remainder of my energy clearing more of the farm. Eventually, I went to bed. Pumpkins were growing nicely on day 66, and as it was a Wednesday, I couldn't buy more seeds from Pierre, so I watered them instead. I was bored of running around the map late at night, so I went to the community centre and finished off the furnace room by handing in a copper, iron and gold bar. By doing this, the minecarts are unlocked. This also gives us the first for the 6 stars in the community centre, and if you're wondering about the reward, it's a furnace, but as we're not using them, I didn't claim it. I realised that I didn't have an ancient seed, so I went to the lower floors in the mine to try and get one. Apparently I also didn't have the first dwarf scroll, so I'll hand that in to Gunther the next time I see him. I didn't find an ancient seed, so I headed home to bed and watched the Junimos fix the minecarts during the night. How kind of them. There were more eggplants to harvest on day 67, and the corn was ready too. We also got our first yam. I went into the coop and I saw that the void chicken had hatched. I named it Casa. Next stop was a museum to give Gunther the scroll that I had found. Gunther gave me the Dwarvish translation guide as a thank you. After that, I went to the mines to continue the quest of getting more copper bars. I did also happen to find a rare disc in the mines, so that's a nice bonus. You see that iron bar on the floor? My inventory was full, so I tried eating something to clear some space and ended up hating this game so much. I didn't see the ladder that I was standing in front of. Annoyed by myself, I went and did some fishing. I managed to catch the anglerfish, which is one of the legends in the game. I spent a bit of time clearing the farm again before jumping into bed. Day 68 started with the usual watering of crops and saying hello to the animals. I did my normal Friday thing of buying nothing from the travelling cart, and I bought an iridium sprinkler from Krobus. I swung by the museum and handed in the rare disc. Then it was back to hunting for bars. However, I got sidetracked and ended up completing the monster eradication goal for skeletons. I also spoke to the dwarf and bought the scarecrows that can be used in a crafting recipe. After getting another copper bar in the mines, I went back to the farm and continued tidying. I did some much needed inventory sorting and climbed into bed. It was raining on day 69, so I didn't need to water my crops. Instead, I headed into the mine to try and find an ancient seed. At least that was the plan until I remembered that I hadn't bought a milk pail from Marnie. I took a quick moment to admire my fishing collection. I returned to the mines to try and find an ancient seed, but instead I took the rock off of a rock crab and saw what it looked like instead. What a funky little guy. I didn't manage to find the seed, but thanks to the minecarts I managed to get back home at a reasonable time. Pumpkins were ready to be harvested on day 70, and I got a gold quality one as well. After watering my crops, I took a pumpkin and handed it into the community centre, which completed the full crops bundle, and as a reward, I got a bee house. I went to Pierre's and grabbed some more pumpkin seeds. I need 5 gold quality pumpkins, and so far I only have 1. I did visit the travelling cart, but I didn't buy anything. Instead, I returned to the farm and prepared to plant more pumpkins. After that, I returned to the mines to continue my search. Unfortunately, I still didn't find it, so I headed home, sorted out my inventory, and went to bed. There were more pumpkins ready for harvesting on day 71, as well as some more corn. I got 1 more gold quality pumpkin. Lewis also wrote me a letter reminding me of the Stardew Valley fair. Today was the last day to plant any pumpkins, so I went to Pierre's and bought some more seeds. I still hadn't found an ancient seed, so I headed into the mines once again to kill some more bugs in the hopes of finding it, and eventually I did. I immediately headed to the museum and handed in the seed, and Gunther gave me a reward of the seed that I can plant, as well as a recipe for the seed. I went back into the mines to complete a goal of killing 4 red slimes, and a void spirit gave me another copper bar. However, I realised that I couldn't complete the goal as it was too late to talk to Lewis, and went back to the farm to continue tidying it up. There wasn't much watering to do the next day as my sprinklers were hard at work. It's also the day of the Stardew Valley fair, so I put some things into my display and hoped it would be enough points for first place. After judging was complete, I spoke to Lewis and I came first because I am an amazing player at this game. I currently have 1,000 points, but I need 2,800 points in order to buy the Velcro and the Star Drop. Most players would use the orange-green wheel, but I never win it, so I do the fishing minigame instead. After a few good rounds, I was able to buy the Star Drop. Then, after spending some more time at the fishing minigame, I had enough points to buy the Velcro as well. When the fair was fully over, I headed home, sorted out my inventory, and spent some more time cleaning the farm. If you want to know why I spend so much time clearing the farm, it's because I want to be able to get as much hay as possible. I eventually went to bed and saw that I was earning some pretty good money. It was raining on day 73, so I didn't need to water my crops, but I did need to check that my animals had food. I didn't have too much of a plan, so I spent a large chunk of the day clearing the farm again. In fact, I think that's the only thing I did that day. After chopping down a lot of trees and speaking to none of the NPCs, I went to bed. I wonder what they think of me. It was nice and sunny on my farm today, and I had a letter from Clint. Oh my god, he's finally given me a copper bar. I said hello to Bobo and she gave me some large milk that can be finally donated to the community centre. I paid Clint a visit and asked him to process a lot of geodes that I'd been holding onto. I managed to get some sandstone, as well as a twinkly orange thing. As I was there and I had the necessary resources, I asked Clint to upgrade my hoe. The next stop was the museum to hand in the sandstone and the twinkly orange thing. Gunther gave me a nice crystal chair as a reward. I managed to get to the community centre and handed in the large milk from earlier. After chasing a train and getting nothing, I returned to the farm and continued to clear it of mess. I've made a lot of progress and I think I'm actually over halfway with clearing it. For once, I wasn't low on energy, but I was low on time, so I went to bed and dreamed of level 7 foraging. Oh my god, I've not been capturing. What you just heard was me realising that I hadn't been capturing footage for 30 minutes. Why hadn't I been capturing footage? I was watching something on my side monitor where OBS normally sits, so I didn't notice until I died in the mines. Let's see what past me remembers. Basically, I did not realise that I had not been recording the day before. And I haven't recorded most of today, but I don't want to lose the sword that I've got today, so... this is what I still have. Hooray, I've got a strange barn, I've got a yeti tooth. Completed the bundle that was not completed here. Anyway, so I've not made much progress, but at the same time I kind of have. It's just been thankfully it's only 30 minutes of footage, but at the same time it's 30 minutes of footage. Oh, I also bought another iridium sprinkler because Krobus is going to be our best friend at this rate. We got a load of fruit as well in the bat cave. Oh, our copper hoe finally finished upgrading. We got that today as well. Yeah, I'm going to call that a night. Ooh, I'm so annoyed at myself. There were more eggplants to harvest on day 77, and thanks to my army of sprinklers, there were less crops for me to water as well. Marlon found my Omni-Geo that I'd lost in the mines. Then I did some more debris clearing. I suddenly remembered that it was Sunday and I headed to the travelling cart. I bought nothing, but I was tempted to buy an apricot sapling. I did return to the farm to do some more clearing, which is pretty much what I did for the rest of the day. By clearing all the trees in one season, it gives me the chance of decorating the farm in the next one. I eventually went to bed and Hugo kept a lookout for me. I'm glad he did, as during the night we were visited by a witch. Today is going to be pretty much a repeat of yesterday. Look over my plants and then get chopping. In the afternoon I went to see Clint and paid for him to open some geodes. He gave me a pink thing that I already had and a dwarf gadget. I gave Gunther the dwarf gadget and he gave me a reward. I stepped into the mines to continue the challenge of finding more metal bars. I was fighting a slime, void spirit and a bat at the same time and managed to get another monster slayer goal. It wasn't the most successful time in the mines as I only got one copper bar and a very cluttered inventory. After doing some last minute tree chopping, I put a decoration on the wall and fell asleep. And I dreamed of level 8 farming. I got another gold quality corn on day 79, that was nice. Because of that, I had 5 gold quality corn, so I handed them into the community centre. I was determined to get the farm cleared before winter, so I chopped down some more trees. In hindsight, using a bomb would probably be a lot quicker, but I didn't want to be left with the stumps. I also probably should have upgraded my axe to make this a lot easier. Eventually, I went to bed. After watering my crops, I noticed that I had a letter. It was from Clint, and it was another copper bar? On day 80 of this challenge, Clint has finally sent me the second copper bar. I'm so glad for the void spirits. I'd finally cleared the farm of rogue trees, so I headed into the mines to expand the copper bar collection. I didn't have much luck though, and I returned to the farm to clear out the stone. There was still a small amount of corn to harvest, but thankfully I didn't need to worry too much about it. After doing a bit of foraging, I decided to head into the mines once again. Luck wasn't on my side, so I headed home and saw that the blackberry wine was finished. That can be handed into the community centre. That means there's one less thing to hand in. Once my inventory was sorted, I headed to bed and dreamed of level 9 combat. It's day 82 and the end of the season is inching closer day by day and the pumpkins still aren't ready. There was a recipe from Clint in the post today and Lewis was telling me about the Spirits Eve festival tomorrow. However, today I went to the travelling cart and actually bought something. I know, I never do that, but it was an Iridium bar for 4,000 gold. I had a lot of ore in my chest that I wouldn't be able to use, so I decided to sell it to Clint for some extra money. Then I went to see Krobus again and bought another Iridium sprinkler. After that, I headed back into the mines. Other than that single copper bar, I didn't get too much luck in the mines, so I returned home and prepared to harvest all the long grass on the farm before heading to bed. There was a glorious sight to see on day 83. All of the pumpkins were finally ready to be harvested. I also got enough gold quality pumpkins to complete the bundle. I was so excited to run to the community centre and finish it, but I somehow completely forgot about the Spirits Eve festival. Instead, I decided to start scything the long grass. It actually took me a lot longer than I was expecting, and the festival was finally happening. I somehow forgot that Pierre had a shop and I didn't have enough money to buy the recipe or the rarecrow. After completing the most difficult maze I have ever come across, I got a gold pumpkin as a reward. At the end of the festival, I was tempted to do some more farm tours, but after looking at the time, I thought going to bed was a better idea. It's the last day of fall, so today is going to be spent harvesting the last crops, tending to the animals and preparing for winter. Once that was done, I grabbed the 5 gold quality pumpkins and handed them into the community centre, completing yet another bundle. I also went to see the travelling cart and didn't buy anything, despite needing the battery pack and cactus fruit. After that, I went into the mines to gather some more copper bars. I wasn't overly successful, but I did manage to do some extra mining. I put a few things into the shipping bin and headed to bed with an extra blanket as there was a bit of a chill in the air.